Hi everyone. I want to record an episode that's based on my recent article titled Change. We just talked about my life recently, particularly these two past 2 weeks when I went into a new job and from my quitting my previous job in the industry as a scientist after 3 years. And I feel like it's important to talk more about it because there's a lacking I found that we don't really talk about our change of mind, change the plans, and what's the internal feeling that makes us to make a change and even take the action, use the courage to really take a change. And after that, what's the life happened after that change? Usually there's a lot of fear, and I feel like just important to talk about it, and we'll see how life will be ending up, right? So it's almost, well, it's over 2 weeks into my new work life, and I'm feeling saturated, scared, and settled. And there's actually a lot in this one sentence. So I want to unpack these feelings and the facts that's either associated with the feelings or just the facts that's happening in my mind and what's happening in the drama in my mind, in my brain. All right. So some context, and I probably haven't fully revealed that, is that the backstory and my driving motivations behind my recent change from working in the industry as a scientist to a more like a program management role in a nonprofit. I will most likely do that because I have a lot of thinking and there's a lot of decision making factors that come into the combination of the decision, and it's not a hassle decision. It's not like I don't like this job, I'm gonna quit next month or tomorrow, things like that. Actually, I thought that if you leave your previous job, that would be there will be the emotion that dominates, but it's actually not. And there's a lot in that decision. It's difficult, it's emotional, and it takes a lot to be honest about yourself and your situation. So I want to share more about that, splitting more pieces of my shaped and evolved thoughts and decisions. So anyway, in early January this year, 2025, I resigned from my position as a chemical industry scientist after 3 years. My original LinkedIn post about it actually was posted, but it was removed for security reasons. But in my article, I have the edited picture. Hopefully, that will get through. There's no triggering of any trigger of that security part again. So I share a little bit what my journey and what rules I have been involved in the past 3 years in my previous job. And I will link the post in this episode. So I want to talk about more like these feelings. Um, Going to like there's a lot of different lifestyle and work style because it's a completed different job and function basically. So the first part is saturated, and it comes down. I break it down to many pieces, and the first piece comes with the meetings, and there are just so many meetings that shouldn't be surprising to me because in the past I have been involved in many rules, and that usually generate calendar blocks. But this situation is completely different because of the function and the essential of the job. And just during the initial this remote work phase, my eyes burned from being glued to the monitor for hours on end. And it's just very surprising. And I just make it feel like how I lost control of my calendar because usually when I took the initiative to be proactively to meet someone, I usually can be in the control of when that could happen. And but now it's just different, and I'm totally adapting to this new routine. And another thing that in my previous job, usually between noon, usually people would not schedule meeting out unless you have a lunch meet and lunch chat. So this usual company-wide consent lunch break time was broken too, because I think because of the interaction we have to meet, that how my team works, this availability tends to peak around noon for these people that we are interacting with. So overall, my first official work from home day, the first day, I ended up with a sort of miserable feeling of dizziness, weakness, and stomach because I failed to provide my body with proper food and nutrients, despite believing that I could push through and I should push through. My neck and legs also hurt because my office was not yet set up as remote work friendly environment. And I looked down the laptop and my neck just screamed at me at the end of the day. So all this physical discomfort and the constraints drained me my mental energy pretty quickly, I found. And once I found and realized that I really took actions or took some fixing to that situation. On top of the physical discomfort, mentally, and I feel there's just a lot of information and different workflow. This also add up to the level of saturation. Because on one hand, absorbing the operational task can be fairly easy to handle once I understood the workflow and the purpose of that. But most of the time, I'm in the process of familiarizing myself with everything. Who is doing what, but why, and how. And this is usually how I see and how I work. I will try to connect the dots. And this is the nature of my work personality. And the brain can be really burned out because of that. And the heart, I will feel deflated if a specific part is unclear. I will try to figure this part out without realizing that I already took so much energy on that. So this nature can be a strength for me, but also a weak point. I found by spending too much time and energy figuring something, and that can actually wait until later. So all in all, this can be fixed and are being fixed. I think and I feel I'm much better at adapting to my new work style and lifestyle. I force myself to get out of my chair and look away from my monitor, and I'll try to take as many small breaks. That also helps. And between rushing the kids to school and logging onto my computer in the morning, I'll try to squeeze a few minutes of yoga, usually 10 or 15. And something I'm trying and attempting to do is to do a short meditation into my daily routine, preferably maybe during lunchtime, which is very still difficult, I think. So I'll need to arrange that. So it remains a battle. I'll see about that. And I'm also asking many questions and looking for help with my team member and my manager. And I found that I learned getting clarity quickly and frequently not only helps with onboarding, but in the process, in your usual work, even if you are in the senior position, it also generates motivation interactions, which I really enjoy. So besides the team members checking in time, the daily one-on-one meeting with my manager, which I found a new level of meeting interactions, because we talk basically daily for maybe a half an hour. And these interactions make me realize that there's benefit and visibility of such interactions. I can share my observations, I can ask for feedback, and get clarity on our team's goal and mission as well as my work. So this is the visibility that will come in when you ask for help and ask for feedback very frequently. So I'll continue to remind myself that it's okay to be a slow at first. It might take weeks to match the pace and capacity of everyone else, and there's no need to compete and to be very rushing through. All right, now the second part, feeling scared. And this particularly screamed out louder as I made the decision in consider leaving my previous scientist role. It's not necessary to associate with my new role, but there are some connections. So things like internally, I will have voice like, who will I become if I don't do science anymore? Do I waste my PhD, my master degree, and all the industry science and engineering experience? What does my creation and my brand, Sunshine with Your Science, now what does that even mean if I don't own a research topic and a domain anymore? And I realized I probably fallen into the trap of believing that research activities are the only way to reach true scientific contribution and success. Because while the media talks about leaving academia for other routes after PhD, I found myself dealing with the inner voice that told me that leaving a lucrative STEM career is a bad idea. Should not do that. I'm sure I won't have the answer whether it is, and no one can, no one should. What I'm certain of is that I have little hope that happiness will come if I keep staying in the position and the place that don't make me feel excited or very excited, very motivated anymore. So that's how I made the change, which I hope to talk more in the following post and episode. In addition to that, I also, and that's something when you change the job, you will think about a lot is the pay and the salary. So I contemplate the impact of a pay cut due to the career change. And I feel part of my anxiety probably from first, the way society encouraged and advertises seeking higher pay by changing jobs or industries. Oddly, I'm doing the opposite. And I won't hide the fact that I have researched and followed media voices, how to get a 200K job with management or leadership level of visibility and opportunity. And I think this is a natural path for me at my age, at my experience, the professional level. I have a family of young children that I need to support. There's just no lack of needs to chase a high paying job. Okay. But by time I realized in learning and unlearning, the equation was more than just financial numbers. And yes, it is super important. That make my life easier and make me feel happy when I have the option to do something else. And yes, I'm privileged to be able to think about things other than salary. And want to mention that the second part is the country and culture in which I grew up really emphasize the strong link between success and earnings, which I have no doubt absorbed that, and I'm working on to unroot that. So that caused the hesitation and fear. So I'm now just as glad as I can step out of the rooted mindset and made a decision to pursue a path that was not traditional to the community I came from, and I will expand my understanding of what's possible a little more in this future journey and process. Okay, now the third part, how I feel settling. So overall, I ask myself, how am I feeling? I feel good. I feel good about myself. And I'm in alignment with my new team's overarching goal and generally feel pumped about the activities planned ahead. Of course, I grieved about leaving the corporate world. I was heartbroken. I have tears when I either mentally settled with the decision and I started to share the news when talking to someone else. But I'm also peaceful to place this grief in a nice box and from time to time thanking the experience that have shaped me. And most likely Most importantly is I don't feel the need to prove much at this moment of my life. I don't have to do more to be feel enough. And of course, there will be performance like every corporate world does. I have to meet and stretch certain goals and to meet some KPIs. But in the past 10, 15 years of my professional life, I found that achieving things is definitely my thing. I love that. I enjoy that. It's in my DNA. But what I learned is it has to be done in a way that lets me enjoy the journey. I have to enjoy the views, the nitty gritty, and the process itself, just like you took a travel. You have to enjoy the view rather than just focus on the destination where you're going or how that's make you look like. All right, that's it. And I hope this post will be something different in this media landscape. And yes, there's always balance and debate of where you are going. There's a push and pull of your decision making. What I wanted to emphasize is in these days, how you feel and what you need is a little not talked a lot about. On the media, we talk about really external materials, incentives, what makes you feel happy. If you are not associated with this external motivation, then what's left that can make you feel much happier and make you feel like you are doing things that you want to do, you enjoy to do. All right, we'll talk about in the next episode.